Would that be okay?
That would be fine.
Okay, you got it. And then you can give this to Shannon or to David, or if anyone has time to take a peek at this. So it's recording, and then it'll be your own private little YouTube that you can just click on and kind of scroll backwards and forwards and see whatever you'd like on the demo here. So,
very good.
All right, so I thought, wonderful. So today I thought we'd put in some inventory. We'll show you purchase orders if you'd like to see that. Again, you could phone in an order, and then all you do is receive it, and literally you could define product as it's showing up at the back door. So if somebody bought some frames or a chair from La-Z-Boy, anything, and it just showed up and they phoned it in, you literally can define it in seconds there on the back, as far as on a tower, sort of in a back room, if you'd like. Spit out a tag the product, and put it on the floor, and that's your paper trail. So you don't have to do a purchase order, but it is nice to have them, because then you can kind of see, David can take a look at what he's got at cost, what he's got at retail, and know who owes him what. And when product is showing up the wrong time of the year, if you do anything that's seasonal, he can see that too and get on the phone and say, hey, where is this? We need it on the floor right now. So auto PO is where the computer can kind of walk the floor and kick out a suggested purchase order. So if you'd always like to stay in stock on, on just armchairs or a certain number of recliners or anything, the system pays attention to that for you. And when you dip down below 2 or something, you can set up a minimum quantity at each of the 4 stores. When it dips down below, it will suggest a purchase order. We even have something a little more sophisticated where it'll suggest a transfer order. So if you've got oodles of chairs over at store 4, it's not going to say reach into your pocket and take out some money and order more chairs. It'll say let's suggest a transfer from store 4 to store 3. So it's very sophisticated there too, very nice auto purchasing area. Receipts is what it sounds like. That's ringing up sales. Where you will kind of live and breathe is something called sales orders, which is our plan to sell. So you're taking a deposit and then you're delivering it. And once it's truly out the door, that's when you invoice it, for example. You might take 100% down, 50% down, whatever you decide, 10% on layaways if you do those. All of that is definable and automatic, so you don't have to think about it. And I'll show you those. That's kind of our best thing. Another area, do you do a lot of custom orders? So like I know that there was a company, Oak Creek, that you might do a little bit of custom, like the dresser handles and little pieces of it, stains and things, maybe dimensions. So there's an
most of that stuff.
Go ahead.
Most of that is all custom. All that stuff is special orders. We do quite a bit of that. We're getting more towards that.
Okay, well, I'll show you. The slick part is on that document, you can put all that detail. You can put the dimensions of the dresser, the handles, the stain, anything that you want from Oak Creek for them to know. And then it puts all that detail in one nice document with the customer that's buying it. You could take a deposit, and if you decide 50%, 100%, since it's custom, whatever you decide to do, just take the whole, $1,000 or whatever it is. Then you can click a button, and it generates a purchase order, which is up here. It makes a purchase order and ties it electronically to the special order, so that I always think of it as an electronic triangle, because when it shows up at the back door, it looks for the purchase order, which looks for the special order and says, call Sam Smith, his dresser's in. So you can't accidentally put it on the floor and accidentally sell it when he's been waiting 6 weeks for it or something. So I'll show you that. That's a really neat area of the system. So anyway, but we'll cover all the basics today, and then if you want to drill down deeper, and certainly I understand it's your busy time, so I won't keep you too long, but we'll go through and we'll put in some product, purchase it, receive it, sell it, and then we'll report on what we sold there. And we've got really deep, nice reports. So first thing, I'm going to go into inventory, and this is like looking at it's a long sheet of paper here. It's infinite of basically a spreadsheet of all your items. And I've got all sorts of items in here, but just to show you, for example, if I put in, I'm going to type in bed just to show you something. So if I type in the word bed, it's going to find anything with the word bed, even if it's the second word, it's the first word. It doesn't matter. It's going to go find anything bed related here. And I've got all sorts of things, even bedazzled. So, but you get the idea. So here's a bed custom And then I've got, if I go to form view, I can see kind of a picture of it as well. So, so I can see things in form view. This is sort of an institutional style bunk bed. So if I type in bunk bed, it would have gotten me here. There's this long description that can, I've cut and pasted off the website for this institutional style bunk bed. But basically it's just a nice long description that if you do want to tie this into your web store, and my understanding is that, you know, that might be something you dig into later, right? Is tying it to a web store so that somebody could, you know, order it online. But even just cutting and pasting it and having this long item note is nice for getting things like a big, a tag print, for example. And I'm going to say print tags, which is a little button here off to the side. I have all sorts of designs, and I do have one that's the size of a hand that's like a shelf tag. So I just want to give you a sense of it. I'm going to make it big, but hopefully you can see that. Does that show up on your screen?
Yeah, and this is the tag. This will print this tag. Is it to apply it to the item on the floor?
Exactly, yes. So that if you wanted to have a tag that you laminate or something, yes, you can have that right to your right to the floor. Exactly. So that barcode, the 5960, represents that specific item, and it's basically assigned. The system assigns it a number that you don't have to worry about. It's just a number that's assigned to that's unique to this bunk bed, as an example. Of course, it also has a UPC code that comes from the manufacturer, so that's also a part of the product. So you could scan either the tag that you generate or the tag that the manufacturer generated, and it's going to find that product and put it on the floor there. So, so I just wanted to give you an idea. So if like I said, if I typed in, you know, bunk bed, it's going to go find just those institutional bunk beds that I have in here. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, sure.
Yep. And if you know, so if I put in, I just want the one that's blue. You know, start typing in blue. It doesn't have to be. It could be uppercase, lowercase. It doesn't care. It's very forgiving. So it will find that for you, and then you can, you know, basically zero in on that one product that you're looking for, whatever it is. So I'm going to clear all that out. I understand some of your major vendors there, La-Z-Boy. So if I type in Lazy here as the vendor, you'll see that it goes and finds, you know, some of my La-Z-Boy recliners here that I've got in the system. Off to the far left, that is the vendor Rolodex. And when I click the little three dots right there, you're going to see that it takes me to, you know, it is a La-Z-Boy Rolodex in here. So first day on the job with us, you put in all of the terms that you get with these guys. You get net 30 days or 2% 10 net 30 or whatever it is. So somebody would have to go in here and put in, you know, Carrie Smith and you know, her phone, fax, email, you know, all of that. This is kind of the hard part, or not hard, it's tedious is the word I would say. So you know, .com, I mean, her email, this is what can pull through to a purchase order if you'd like. So you might get free freight, you know, at $2,000 or something. So you put in a notation, and then that can pull through to a purchase order. So if David's doing a PO, do you ever do any purchase orders there?
Yes.
You do? Okay, good. So you'd put in a vendor, you'd put in the department class, subclass, and let me drill down into that so you can see what that is. This, I think I have, you know, I'll show you what this is. So this is maybe chair, living room, custom is what I've got. There's actually 3 characters, 3 characters, and 3 characters. And I've got everything from appliances to apparel and a lot of department store stuff in here, so forgive me. For you, it would obviously be all, you know, furniture related, but you might have living room set, dining room set, things like that. So 3 for department, 3 for class, and 3 for subclass helps you. If I wanted to run just CUS for everything custom, you'd get a report on all custom products, every, you know, crossing over all departments. Or you can compare, you know, living room chairs to dining room chairs to bedroom chairs, that kind of thing. So so you'll have to kind of use your imagination there, that we can come up with that tiered structure, and we give you what other people have done. So we've installed, you know, Ashley Home Furnishers, and so we would come up with that structure, and that's such a foundation for one level of reporting. So you do want to think that through. And the slick part is you're not stuck. If you change your mind later and say, I want to change CUS to CTM for custom, you can say find this, replace it, and it would change all history with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so you would, so it's something that you cannot go wrong with, I guess is what I'm saying, is your personal trainer that we assign would help you with that. And then I put in a big description. This is a recliner with custom fabric. I just threw in a style number or an order number there that the vendor recognizes. Size is optional. I think typically you might do something like, you know, the physical size of something is you know, 32 inches, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So you can
that
put
size
that in there.
isn't. Yeah, it's not as important.
An attribute might be a color. It might be a certain fabric type. You've got on hand is 9. I put in a cost price margin. These 3 fields play off each other. And if you said, I want to get a 75 margin, it would tell you sell it for $600. If your cost is X, you know, it'll tell you the difference that you're making there. And if you said we're selling it for $499.95, it would tell you exactly what the margin, you know, would be there too. So if you know 2, it tells you the third. And notice that it's not lopping off the 0.67 or rounding it up. So a lot of systems lop that off or round it up. And I'm telling it I want to break this style from this style. So I basically got a form view here where I can see something with a picture. I've got kind of this cream colored one here that I think is more of a Miller style. I don't think that's a Lazy Boy, but just that I threw in it as Lazy Boy. But basically it's to put in a product, it's pretty straightforward. I can do a sort of a copy and paste where I just say copy it. And this also comes in, I'm going to say brown, you know, just to give you a sense of something. So you can put it in, the system will assign a number to it that is unique. Off to the far left, there's kind of a little number that it just throws in a sequential number that's unique. So you don't have to think about it. It put in that same style, except maybe it's a little bit different, that it's you know, brown or something there. So a different style number, order number. And I'm going to say there's 4. This is kind of first day on the job, going in and putting in information about it, putting in, you know, right-clicking and attaching a picture if you'd like. But that just define that
So
item inventory and it's ready to sell.
Everything that's added in here, we have to add it in one line at a time. Everything that goes in there, this is something we have to add one line at a time as we enter this stuff.
No, I'm showing you kind of worst case scenario. Ideally, from Lazy Boy, they give you their catalog and we import it in, and it just goes in exactly as what you're looking at here, and it would just drop in. You know, it would literally drop everything in there into, you know, line by line. So it would.
Okay, so the manufacturer will supply. What type of format does that have to be, though?
It's got to be an Excel or a CSV file. So almost all of them do that now, but I'm showing you like sort of worst case scenario. Let's say that we dumped it all in and then a week passed by and you received in some stuff that didn't make it into the cut. It didn't make it into the import. So you'd have to go put stuff in. That's the worst case scenario, is typing in, you know, the vendor, the department, the descriptions, maybe a style number or an order number, a size, a color, or a variable. And this is, again, is just a big spreadsheet. You decide what these columns are, for example, but you do need cost, price, margin. Whether or not you want to see margin dollars and markup, that's up to you. Some people don't want to even look at those. And frankly, that's all private. So not everybody gets to see that. You know, ownership gets to see that, buyers get to see that, and you are a family business, so you guys might just leave it there and let everybody see that. That's not a big deal. But if there's someone you don't want to see it, it could be asterisked out.
Okay, now is what each person sees based on their login credentials? Is that what that is?
That is correct. So when someone logs in, see how some of these buttons are dim? Maybe they can't even go there. Maybe they are stuck at the point of sale, ringing up sales, and that's all they get to do. If they do,
right, and that's we would definitely want that. We wouldn't want everybody to have access to every single thing.
Of course. Every screen is completely designable. In fact, even your searches, like you may not care about the weight of something. That might be more web related, and you could say, you know, I don't want to search by weight. Let's get rid of that little guy. Let's get rid of weight and search by size or by, you know, length or by width of something. So we would help make up fields, and you get to make them up. They're, you know, width, fabric, things that you care about. You put in a width of this to that or a height of this to that. And now that's searchable. So So this quick filter is really designable, and then it's per person as well. So when you log in, you like to see width. When Shannon logs in, she likes to see fabric and, you know, a bunch of other fields on the top here. And this is just completely designable. And it's we open that up and she can search by whatever she wants. And that's just a partial search. There's actually a filtered view that has the whole world here, that if I wanted to search, you know, by something of a, you know, a created date of this to that, or a department, or, you know, tons of different fields. I do all of these fields are in it. There's consignment or non-consignment. I have player because I do lots of sports teams, and they search by Hernandez jersey and things like that. It's whatever is important to you. So anyway, what I would do is I'm going to say cancel this filter just to show you something. I did want to go in and show you. We'll go do, like, for example, if there was a name like a salsa is the name of a bed collection, a sofa set. So I can just type in salsa and I'm there. I can just see it. Can you see my screen on that for this Ashley stuff?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oops. Okay. So just a keyword search as an example, and then again, it could be a copy paste, but ideally we're dropping in season by season. It just puts in the UPC code, it puts in everything there. And when I do want to print a tag, it can be that big tag, or it could be, you know, I've got all sorts of small tags here too. So depending on what it is, if it's a picture frame or, you know, whatever it is, we would have your logo on it though, so that people can't shop it. It's got your when somebody returns it, it's got your logo on it, and then it's almost impossible for somebody to return something that they bought somewhere else, right? Because it would have your markings there. So so that is just, you know, kind of putting in inventory. I did want you to see that if we also put in like a mattress, I wanted to show you something here because we do have a. I've been spelling that wrong, aren't I? So let me cancel that. I'm not sure if I did a mattress. It's got two T's. Oh, geez.
Two T's.
My mind today is just not all there. I tell you. I guess maybe I didn't have anything in there for that. Nope, I guess I didn't. So putting in something like something with variables, and it could be, you know, here's a braided throw pillow, just an example. So it's got different colors and different sizes. So things like a mattress would apply because I can see things in a grid. And not only are we in a grid, we're in a multi-store grid. So I wish I had a mattress in there to show you because I think that's a really neat one to be able to just go in and see. But this will give you an idea of what it is too, I guess. So this is just a braided, you know, it's a pillow that comes in 16, 18, and 20 inch. And I can see it in different colors. I like to see this in all stores. So I do have 8 stores in here, and I like to flip store to the left. So if this were, I like to think of it as a mattress too, and we could even go put one in just to give you a sense of this. But you can see quantity on hand per location. So see this store 1, and if I scroll down, and if I had a nice big monitor, I could probably spread this out and have it, you know, all the colors and all the stores. There's 4 stores. There's nothing in any of the other stores, but you get the idea there. Does that make sense?
Right, and so that all populates, that's real time. When something goes out of inventory, when something sells, that comes right out of the inventory.
It comes right out of the inventory, and that store is instant. It's within 2 minutes between locations. So the stores talk. It's this background process through the internet that takes place. It's a process in, process out. We do say 2 minutes because it's near real time. So it's pretty darn close. If somebody's buying the last mattress, you might pick up the phone or instant message them, like on my screen, my team was instant messaging me there, and say, hey, just put your hand on this for me because I've got someone here buying it. But being able to put in like a mattress scale. Let me see if I can't go find. Let's see. So it would be. Let's see if I've got it under bedding. Just to give you a sense of it. So here's like twin, full, queen, king. There's these little templates that you can grab and use over and over again. And I've got all sorts of attributes there and stores. And I like to put in like a department class subclass. Maybe this is, you know, it's bedding. So here's headboards, here's linen, and I'm going to just put in like, here's a headboard, just to give you a sense of what this does. And then a vendor code, and I'll do Ashley, and then the description is just headboard, headboard and an order number and a cost on something like this, I'll do $150 and see how it makes a suggested price of $300. And again, these three fields playing off each other. I can put in a season if I want. I don't have to, but if I want to, I made up these other fields which I can right click and get rid of, and same with the weight. But what's nice is in here, if I wanted to put in, let me go put in, for example, go back to just warehouse. If I put in a quantity of 2 of everything, it defines those rows. I could put in zeros as well, and it defines them in inventory, but I'm pretending it's kind of like first day on the job, we did an import, and this set did not get in here, so I'm putting in whatever we have, and I counted up 2 of everything, and then it's instantly defining all those rows of inventory. So it doesn't take a lot to put in hundreds of items at a time, just literally at all locations if you want. So from one place you could put it in and say we're shipping to all the stores, and boom, it's going to give them all a number, and it's ready to sell right now. So that's how easy, and it doesn't have to be super fancy, but if I wanted to say all locations and flip store to the left like I like to do, you see how I've got my stores 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and literally you can put in, you know, quantities just into each location. Obviously there's a process for doing this on paper, which is receiving properly into each store, but I just wanted you to see that it's, you know, that it's easy enough to define product per location here. It actually copies it all without even touching
I don't want
store.
I don't want that to, you know, I don't want to have to enter it in that way. When something comes in, it's going to come into our warehouse. Generally, under normal circumstances, it's all going to come into our central location, and then it's going to be distributed from there. And so I want to be able to track the inventory as it goes without, you know, I don't want, there's not going to be one person that's going to be able to sit and just assume, okay, this is where everything is, and be able to enter it. I want to know that when a truck backs up to our warehouse, I want to be able to track it from there as it gets distributed to all of our stores, and be able to track that in real time so that everybody knows right where everything is.
Gotcha. And that's exactly what you can do within the system. And I'll go show you that. I wanted you to see that, you know, this is kind of the hard part of if something got missed, somebody would have to put it into the system. So I probably shouldn't even have shown that, because it really isn't the way you do day-to-day operations. You've got an on-hand here.
That's good that we can all add that, but.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. So and setting up like on hand for this, you know, this product here, just as an example. So I've got, let me go back to headboard. So just to show you, for that headboard we just plugged in there, we have 2. You can set up a minimum for things and say I always want at least 5. I just wanted you to see that the system got a suggested purchase order to bring you up to minimums. That if you have set, you know, I always want at least 5 of this headboard, the system will pay attention for you, and it will kick out a suggested purchase order. Probably what you're talking about then is just going in and doing receiving in the back and tagging it and putting it on the floor, which you can absolutely do. We go to what's called the receiving voucher. And I did want you to kind of see that it'll make the purchase orders for David for you just automatically. Every day you could come in and there might be a few purchase orders where the computer is suggesting something based on stock levels it thinks you should have. And it learns from its sales history and says, you don't need 5 headboards, you need 7 this month, you need 8 next month. So it will create those purchase orders for you, which is kind of neat. Right from here, if I say new, and this is our receiving voucher, and I've made it very bright and colorful, and you could right click and we would help you to just get rid of the pretty pictures and things if you don't like them. So I just want you to know it can literally look any way we want on this screen. This screen is very designable, and I just happen to like a lot of color there. But so let's say your receiving guy just received in a bunch of headboards. He can come in here and tell the computer, what did we actually get? So he could either reference a purchase order, or he could just go define or find that product. And if you put in, you know, for example, if you put in vendor, you know, that all he knows is that it's Ashley, he could, and I could put in Lay's Boy or whoever, but if he put in Ashley as a vendor, so there's Ashley Home Furnishings. I think I've got him in there twice. I'm not sure which one is the better one to look up there. But if I say choose an edit item, he'll get sort of a list of all products, including, you know, the headboard that we created, or he could define brand new stuff here too. Let me see. I think I do have the wrong Ashley in there. My question is, do you think they would want to just define products kind of on the fly as it's shown up at the back door there, or do you think you'd prefer to start doing more purchase orders and receiving things kind of thoughtfully from the purchase order?
No, yeah, we definitely don't want anybody just, you know, creating stuff on the fly that shows up at the back door. Nothing's ever going to show up like that. Everything that's going to be coming from a purchase order, I want, when it shows up on the truck, I want a barcode on the item already. That all I want, because, you know, I don't have, you know, we have good people, but, you know, we don't, by design, we don't put rocket scientists at the warehouse door. So I want a guy with a gun there that scans each item that comes off, and I automatically want it to go in there. I don't want to have a guy that, you know, I don't want to have to train somebody to use your software every time I have a turnover in the warehouse, because
absolutely. Yeah.
And I definitely don't want them defining products and doing descriptions and anything like that.
Okay, absolutely. So he'd have probably this gun right here. This is one type of gun that I like. Or more likely, there's actually one that has more of a, I'll show you a little bit better, one that has a handle that I really like. I think might make the most sense there. And it's got just a tiny picture here, but see this one off to the far right there? This is called a Zebra. He just has a point and click trigger finger on that one. That's probably the best one.
And that's fine, and that's what I'm looking, you know, I'm just looking for, you know, the basic system, because I'm not looking to shoot the moon and go to the, you know, the craziest, most in-depth system right now. We're trying to, you know, move from, prehistoric processes. We're just trying to move in, you know, into something that's a little easier, and we don't want to overwhelm our people or our warehouse or anything like that. We're not looking for the, you know, the Ferrari of the system. We just want to be able to get to a point of sale system that tracks our inventory, you know, very well. And that also we can take, you know, do a point of sale. We can run reports that also will tie into QuickBooks, and that, you know, we don't have to have an engineering degree to, you know, to train our other people or to, you know, to operate.
Absolutely. So I think that gun and just scanning it, and then basically it downloads here, and if there was a picture in there, it's going to pop it up. If not, it's basically just scanning the item, and you're just putting the quantity. It would upload the quantity in here. So from that,
okay, where does the barcode generate from?
I have a big touch screen here that says print it, but it would just automatically. So you said though that you want to have them predetermined, so that the company would have that barcode already printed right on the product. So it would just already have a barcode on it, a UPC code. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, is that, you know, that things can show up with the barcode, that when we create a purchase order, that barcodes are attached with that goes to the manufacturer, or, you know, a barcode that they generate. You know, I want to keep it as simple as possible when it shows up, you know, to our warehouse. I don't want to have, you know, anybody try to create those things and tag those things. It should be a pretty, you know, I want it to be as painless as possible for our, you know, for our guys.
I think we have two systems, two very simple systems. What I would say is typically from the purchase order, and that's where, like I say, that I've got it set so the computer can kind of kick out a purchase order for us tier 2. So I'm going to have it do that. It'll fill me to my minimums that I set up on that headboard, and I would just go in and just let me go edit and just clear all this out. So I could say vendor code, put in a certain vendor, or I can just say show me, you know, headboard. And this is where you're doing a purchase order. So this is you or David going in and saying, tell me what my minimum should be for that product. And if I've dipped down below a certain product quantity, it sees that I need more headboards. So it's going to say you have 3, you need 2 more to bring it to your 5. And if you say, okay, so this is once a week, once a month, whenever you guys are doing your buying, it goes and creates a purchase order for you for that vendor, and basically walks up and kicks out a handful of purchase orders for you weekly or monthly. And this is what a purchase order looks like. And it just basically put in a quantity of 3 here and 2 here and so on. So it's basically a purchase order that I can say, this looks good. You email this off to your vendor, and you pre-print your tags and put them on a clipboard by the back door. So I would say that's the process I would probably guess would make the most sense for you, so that it's really easy. So here is a purchase order. You email this off to the vendor, and this is going to, you know, I got Ashley Home Furnishings, but it would be to Lazy Boy, whoever, and it would basically email this purchase order off to them. And this was just very quickly, the computer kicked out this particular product, bringing up. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, and then you're saying that you then in turn print codes and leave them at the door, so when they show up.
You do exactly that. Go ahead.
And how do you generate those from this list?
So from here you would press one button and it would generate the barcode tag. So see where it says print tags. You'd pick a design. You know, we would have it all set to go. You know, those large tags, the hang tags, the sticky tags. Here's, you know, Yellowstone National Park, just to give you an idea of this. It would have your logo. Oops, pardon me, not that big. 150 is good. But it would spit them out just 3 per second. You'd put it's on a long slip, like literally you almost could start walking, and it's printed tags that are stickers or hang tags or sticky, or those giant ones that have a picture with that's the size of my hand. You just pick the design you want. That's one design. If I wanted it to print with a picture on it, then that's that shelf tag, and I don't know that I have a picture in there yet, but it would have a picture of the product, maybe a long description of it. If it's a dining set or something, you'd see the whole dining set there. Or you would just print, you could even print a tiny, very small tag, which is less, you know, we call it a jewelry size. That's a tag the size of a Tic Tac, you know, for little things, you could print that. And I don't know, you know, little knickknacks and things. But for the most part, you'd pick a tag, the sign, and you would tag that product and put it on the floor. So you'd pre-print your tags, though, is what I'm thinking you would do. You'd pre-print them and put them on with the clipboard with this purchase order, so somebody could just check off the purchase order and have all the tags that are ready there to tag the product. The tag that didn't tag the product is what's remaining, what's on back order as well. So you have a double way to check that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we would, I would say some people like that method. So you could do it from the purchasing point, pre-print the tags, put it on a clipboard by the back door, and they're tagging.
My guys still have to take, and they still have to pull the piece off the truck, identify it, and then put this tag that's pre-printed and attach it to the item, correct?
Well, it depends. So we also do what's called EDI, which is more advanced, but you were saying you want to keep it simple. But if you want, vendors have UPC codes on their products now. So you could either push your vendors like Lazy Boy or whoever it is to tag their product with your tag. That's another way. Or you could use the UPC code that comes on the product. Does most of your product have a price as well as a barcode, or just the barcode?
You know, it depends on the vendor, but most everything is going to have a barcode on it these days. You know what I mean? And that's so exactly. I just want to be able to recognize those as they're tagging them going out. Most all the vendors, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it would be that difficult to have them when they get the purchase order to have something attached to it. There's a barcode that they can then print and and attach to our merchandise when it comes out, because I would really like it to be super simple. When the guys when the truck backs up, they oftentimes, it'll show up on a truck, like on a different trucking line. It doesn't back in with such and such Lazy Boy on the truck. And so when it shows up, the truck opens and they're like, oh, okay, well, this is Lazy Boy stuff. And as they start scanning things coming out, I would like that to show up in the inventory. And so in real time, so that all the stores can see it. We know what we're receiving. We know what we haven't, so on and so forth, without, we're trying to avoid as many mistakes as possible and reduce the manpower.
Well, that's what we could do. We don't have to reference a purchase order, but if they just started scanning, it would just receive in everything just real time right there. So as they scan it, it's just going to show that collection. If they scan 3 of those, it would put in 3 of that salsa set. So it would just put in that product. It's one vendor at a time. So if I started scanning a bunch of stuff that was Ashley, It's basically, it knows that it's Ashley, it puts the vendor's name in there, and it would just plug away at putting in that, putting in whatever they're scanning here. So you'd scan all of that, and then all they'd say is print tags if they want to have your tag on it. If they don't, you could just throw up signs saying the pricing, and someone internally there, as the product shows up at each of the 4 stores, they could search out the price and, you know, put up a sign. Or I'm just thinking in terms of tagging it so that it's got a price, because the UPC code that comes from the vendor, from Ashley, doesn't typically have a price on it, or from Lazy Boy, does it? It just has a barcode, right?
Right, and I don't want it to have a price when it shows up in the warehouse. That's something that we can determine individually once it shows up inside the stores. I mean, we can determine that. We can set that price once it gets to the showroom floor. But I want to, you know, there's multiple levels that obviously the warehouse guys, they have zero to do with price or purchasing or
right.
or you know, anything like that. I just want to be able to track our merchandise real time throughout all the stores so that we know where it is, we can track it, we know when it's arrived, where it's, you know, when it's sold, and then make a simple program so that, you know, that when our people sell it, so that it comes out of the inventory at real time, and how difficult that process is going to be. Do they need special? Do we have to give each one of our salespeople an iPad? Can they do that from the phone? Do they have to scan each item coming out? I mean, what kind of training is going to be involved in this? And do we have to train them individually, or do you guys train? I mean, because some of this stuff,
I think I was, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, I was kind of thinking in terms of it arriving at the store, not at the warehouse, but at the warehouse level. That first scanner that I showed you, that's all they would have. That's all the equipment they would have, is this unit right here.
Mm-hmm.
There would typically be, you know, as soon as they scan, that's sending the signal that's over off to the side. So they do need one PC there, or one unit there that it's
right,
updating.
and that's fine. That's totally understandable. I recognize that, but
then what I'm talking about, as far as putting a tag to it, really is more of at the store level, putting a price to it. You know, how do you want that to look, and receiving it at the store level and putting it. Do you want the warehouse person to actually move it into the inventory for the store, or they're moving it into the warehouse and then and then distributing it out to those locations?
All I wanted to do when the warehouse guy, when it shows up there, I just want it to show up in the inventory in the warehouse. And then each of the 4 stores will, they will request this, you know, they will request it, or they'll see it, and then it goes to a transfer list. I want them to be able to set this up via, you know, to click on this. This is where we're requesting these transfers. And then these lists go out printed. There's no more handwritten kind of, you know, confusion. Right. And then it shows from the inventory, it will recognize that it's left the warehouse, and then it scans again when it gets to each individual store. And so everybody in all 4 stores can see which branch it's at, that it's still in inventory, has not been sold, but it is out of the warehouse. Gotcha.
So as soon as they scan it and click update, it's in inventory, it's been received into the warehouse. So they've got it in the warehouse, and they could, excuse me, they can, and then from there they could transfer it, or somebody could request it, as you said. So and then it's in inventory. So if I go to that, you know, that product, just to show you what the view from the store level would be, the stores could say, I want to that salsa bed set. When they go to it and they press inventory quantities, they're going to see in real time for them what the quantity on hand is in their location. They can see company-wide, we've got on hand of 7. They're all in the warehouse, and you can see that I've got my 8 stores there, but all of those salsa sets of 7 that I received are in the warehouse now. So that was, and I can see what's on order, what's been sold, what's been received, and even in that.
Can each store see what is shown up in the warehouse on a daily basis? So let's say a truck, and
yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, so this is the view right now. I'm in my store, you know, I'm in subsidiary store 1 here, 000 is actually, excuse me, I'm in the warehouse, but I could easily flip to being at a different store. And from that store, you can see you could see all stores from any location. It's who you are. If you have the ability to see that, you can see that. It's basically from any location, but I can select the location and be at store 1 And basically I've got, all my locations here. I'm going to just say I'm at store 1, and then it would change me up here. So now I'm in store 1's inventory where I've got on hand of 0, but I can still see that inventory quantities basically. That there's 7, they're all in my warehouse. I'm just in, now I'm not in the warehouse anymore. I'm in store 1. Does that make sense?
Right, but you're looking individually at this salsa collection sofa set, and we don't always know what's going to show up, every single day. I mean, in a perfect world we would, but let's say tomorrow a truck of, of whatever's mattresses showed up at the warehouse, but can all the stores see what showed up at the warehouse that day, so they can know what to put on their stomach?
Yeah, because I can have it. I would set up like, here's a created date, but I could have the date for just, so last received date of today kind of a thing. So here's like my date, discontinued date, last markdown date, last sold. There's a last received, and I would just filter for first received date. Excuse me. I'd filter for today, and then we'd be looking at just a long list of anything that's come in today. They can see that every single day, every minute. They can see that every minute of the day of like, when did we get it? What happened, and then they can also claim it if they want to. They can do there's a couple different ways they can propose a transfer to themselves. That's one way. They could, if you gave them the rights to actually just do a transfer and make it happen right now, they could do that even before they could, physically grab it and take it out. They could change the quantities. I don't know that you want your people to be able to do that. You might just ask them to propose things and then have somebody being kind of the manager of who gets what, to actually physically transfer things and over to them or ship them to them. How far apart?
Okay, so anytime they suggest a transfer, then that goes to some sort of list that anybody can see. Is that sent via email, or is that something you have to log in to see? So if something shows up, a truck shows up with a handful of items, all the stores can see it, and each one of those has special order items that are on that truck, and they all say, yeah, they want to claim it, this, that, and the other. So all of those requests go to a central location. They go to a spreadsheet. What does that look like?
So here's our transfer section over here. So if I do what's called a transfer slip, and if I have the power to do that, it's taking it out of inventory instantly. It's as powerful as a sale. So someone could either be able to say, I'm going to transfer this right now out from my store or from my warehouse, and you could give them the rights to this or not. There's also proposing, which is making a plan, just like a purchase order is a plan to buy. A transfer order.
Because it's not like there's a truck just sitting there waiting to haul them to each store. So I would want it to go to a plan.
I got it. So here's a plan. So just the word order is just like a purchase order is a plan to buy. A sales order is a plan to sell. It's like a layaway special order. And a transfer order is a plan to transfer. So it's not getting done this second, but then you can fulfill those orders. Now you mentioned special orders too, and I think maybe what I should do, I've got a trainer, Jeff, who's been doing this 23 years, and he's forgotten more than I'll ever know. But I was thinking I probably should have him do a demo with you, because mine is all dolled up in kind of the pretty, because I'm more, I'm a salesperson, but he is a technical person, and I think having him on the demo together with you might be beneficial, because he knows in real life. Like he's installed we have an Oak Furniture Outlet that is exactly your size operation. He installed that one for us, and things can be received centrally, and then it could be predestined to fill those special orders. Like it would know that it's got so many that's going to store 1. It's got so many of this headboard that's going to store 2 to fill those orders. So a lot of this is predestined stuff, because you don't want them just claiming it. If we have a bunch of special orders that we've got to fill first, it can fill those orders first, and then it can do the transfers. It can all be like predestined where it's going to transfer automatically. We have automated transfers. So nobody has to go in as a manager and make decisions and be there first with their coffee at 8 a.m. when the trucks arrive, so that they don't miss out. And I don't want to paint the wrong picture here, because I know what it can do. Jeff knows what it does in real life and why he sets you up that way based on the way you want to do business. And I'm thinking maybe I'm out of my depth here, that he should jump in and help us to kind of wrap around the way you do business.
No,
If that
that's
makes
fine.
sense. I mean,
I just want to make sure that it has the capabilities first and foremost. I mean, I don't want too much fluff in this. I want to keep it as simple as possible. I don't want to overwhelm. Like I said, I don't want to have an engineering degree to get through the software. I just want to make sure that I do the basic functions. And for starters, I just want to focus on the basic functions like that without getting anything too crazy. So
Okay.
moving on from the transfers, moving on from the warehouse. Okay, now I understand that we can bring these things in. The barcodes, whether it's generated and tagged at the warehouse or whether it's tagged at the manufacturer's level, that's something that will kind of have to be determined with the manufacturers. I can understand that. But just know that when you send a purchase order out, those barcodes can be generated and sent to the manufacturers when you send the purchase order, correct?
they can, and that's why some people do require their manufacturers to tag the product
Yes.
for them,
Nope,
even with
that's
pricing.
fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. And like I said, that's fine. The pricing, I don't care right now. I just want to identify things that when they come off the truck, when they land here at our warehouse, I just want my guys to be able to tag the items or just scan the barcode and okay, now we all know it's here. Then they can, they can put it where, put item A over in section B, row 2. That's what I want to know. And so that everything is tracked and accounted for, and then, we can find it. From there, we transfer it to the stores. We've already found, these can be predestined or they can be requested. They can, we've established that that's meeting our needs. So now it gets to the store. Now I want to talk about the point of sale part of this. So now everything shows up in this database, and how does it get, what does my sales team need to do, and what does that look like from my salespeople to get this stuff from the floor to the customer? I mean, does this require another scanner? Does this require, how many people do I have to have logged in? I mean, what does this look like from the point of sale?
Okay, and so this is a POS screen, and I guess before I go too far, I think it's a lot to look at. So I threw some things on the screen, but I want you to see that everything about the screen, and I'm going to delete that and just show you real quick here that it's everything. Literally, you could start with a blank screen, and not to blow you away with stuff, but I want you to see that everything about it is designable. If you want more, items on your screen or item information, I could add buttons. I could add columns of information that they want to see, and a lot of big note fields. So if you were doing something custom, like with a Oak Creek or something like that, you could put a lot of custom notes in here. And I just want you to see that. So this screen is typically an order, a plan. It could be, delivered later, but just to give you a sense of it. So you could put in, and I'll just say new in the upper left-hand corner. And I've got custom order, special order, layaway, and then even registries, which I don't think you care about, but I'm going to say special order. So I could just scan, that salsa set, and I don't have the number off the top of my head, but just that salsa sectional set. It brings in all the information, the price. If we wanted to give any delivery instructions, you could do that there. It's basically you have 11 drop-down paragraphs that are just these giant paragraphs of information, and we could name these columns anything we want, and they just keep on going there off to the side. So
that's fine.
So
again, I don't want to overwhelm my people. Right now, we're handwriting invoices, on the counter, and so you have one line. You've got the price, you have the item, the manufacturer, the color number, and so. I'm just trying to, what does that look like? Do my salespeople have a scanner that they walk out and they scan the item on the floor?
They would just scan that item on the floor. It would pop in anything that they've put in, like the price it would already have in there. It would already have the color code, if there was a color code in there. Usually they would put in the customer's information, so they could add a customer right here if they want, or they don't have to. If the customer doesn't even want to be in the system, they just want to pay and take the product. If it's a chair, a table, something, they could just scan the item and go tender print. So it could be just as simple as that.
Okay, and that prints an invoice.
Yes.
That prints an invoice.
What was that?
I said, so that prints it. They scan it. That prints an invoice. That automatically populates an invoice. Then they can ring that up because and do. This screen that's in front of me, does everybody have to be logged in order, am I going to need 10 seats at each branch so that everybody can be logged in at the same time to see all this stuff? You know what I mean?
Oh, I see. So it's concurrent licensing, and so you can share it. So usually it's, you know, you've got, let's say you've got, and we did a quote for you guys and sent it off, I think. So it's let's say it's a couple registers per store. You can share those licenses, even with a back room for somebody who's receiving and doing reporting or purchasing or anything. But we've got a license typically per POS, and it's $1,600, and you own it for the licensing, for, you know, per user or seat. But it is shareable too. So if so usually it's somebody maybe gets the number off of that salsa collection that it's number 50, 53, 30, and they come up and they type that in, or they can scan a product. They could scan you can leave a bunch of sticker tags that are inside of the little plastic sleeve there that you can pull out a sticker as they're buying it, and you go scan it at the register. It would pull in this product. You could put in the customer information. There is a customer Rolodex there. If you want to track your clients, you can. But if this looks pretty good, you could just say save. I've got it set to do either the full amount or 50% down as a minimum. And if I choose the 50% down, because we're going to deliver it, we're going to do the other half when we show up at their door, we would just tender it out, which is, if you ran a credit card, it knows that a Visa starts with a 4. It knows, I don't have to choose Visa here. It would just automatically know that it goes with a 4, and it goes out for an approval or a decline, and it would print the receipt, either a full sheet of paper with signature capture for them to sign off on their delivery instructions, or if you want it to be a small receipt, it could print a small receipt. This is a small receipt, and it's got just the sales order number of the document that they've got the half down on, and total 24 or 2241. Just the basic information. Here's a Facebook information about anything that you want. I was going to say that the full sheet of paper, just to give you a sense of what it looks like, is let's see if I've got it here, just handy. So here's a document that it can look like this. Have your logo, just all the information that they want, including customer or signature. Let me make it smaller so you can better. There we go. Does that make sense?
Okay, now, yeah, no, and that looks fine. That's a customer receipt. That's good. Then it can load the disclaimers. It can have all these items, and it's going to be more closely resembles to what we're kind of giving them now, only it's printed. So does your system come with card readers? I mean, does that, you say that it recognizes these? Okay, so you have the card readers that we put at each individual location. This is all inclusive with this. And you said each seat is each one of these. You say each one of these seats is $1,600 per seat, right?
Correct. So correct is.
And you say they're shareable, but does everybody have their own login?
Everybody has their own login, so it's secure. But then when they're on, they've claimed that seat. So if you had 3 registers, it would be 3 seats, and anybody can bounce in and out. And it's not per person walking around that you have 30 people. It is per register. There's a license, and it's concurrent. So even if somebody's in the back, they could ring up a sale in the back if they want, but now they're grabbing one of the 3 seats. So maybe there's 4 computers, 3 licenses, or 3 seats, and any 3 people can be on in that operation, in that store. So doing anything, and it could be 50 people, but 3 at a time or 4 at a time. So
right. No, that's understandable.
So this is the unit that's customer facing, and it could be, have a nice disclaimer on it. Sometimes people have the instructions for like delivery instructions, things like that. So that's the device. There are walking around devices that look more like, tablets. So I just to give you a sense of them, this is a fancy, weird apparel one. That doesn't really apply in a good way. Let's see. I don't have one that's your industry, unfortunately, but these are. That's okay. I can get this. Yeah, just to get a sense of the screens and things, but you get the idea. So I've got them, and really the ones that are in the warehouse are more industrialized. We don't want, obviously if you drop an iPad, that's not ideal. So you want one that has a grip, a nice industrial, heavy heavy rubber gripping and that kind of thing. So these are more for, I don't know, boutique style. My furniture stuff is going to be more,
right.
you know,
No, I understood. The guys in the warehouse are going to have a pistol grip. It's going to be more, but the guys, my salespeople on the floor, now with this system, are they going to have to scan something? Can they go in when they log in? Can they type it in? Can they, you know, add manually?
They could do anything.
Sales order?
Add manually. Probably manual. I would say let's stay away from iPads and all the fancy. You can add that at any point. I hate all that stuff. I would say making stickers and putting them in the sleeve, a nice plastic sleeve that you can scan it. So you have showroom stuff within that sleeve that had that big picture of the salsa, you know, with a barcode on it. Could we go over and it has a nice big number so everyone can read it easily. It's style 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say. They could write that down and go over and type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or they could take one of the little stickers.
That's what I want.
Yeah, they could write it down.
That's what I want. I want them to be able to go over the computer, log in and enter the style 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, color 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I want it to populate so they don't have to, you know, so that all my people don't have to have, you know, I don't need all that kind of equipment. I want to keep it as simple as possible. We want to start out baby steps here, small bites.
Right. So I just went in and typed in 50, 53, 30, and it just popped in that sofa set. If they wanted to buy a lazy boy, and forgive me, I'm trying to think of, well, we'll do the headboard, you know, so just something that is a keyword. If they needed to start typing in headboard, they could find it that way too. Or if it's a lazy boy chair, so they can type it in, you know, part of it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I've got a recliner, just to give you a sense of it. So it could be anything, but I've got, so there's that Miller recliner chair. I can scan it all in. It's going to pull them in, and now I've got my total, and I can just sell it. So I could just say save.
Good.
I've got it set to make me put in a customer, which is not law. I can turn that off. So if you don't want to be like a Radio Shack and, you know, take a name, address, phone number, and someone's just trying to buy a battery there. So it's up to you if you want to add a customer or not. Typically people do, because there is a Rolex there and we can do deliveries and things. But let's just say you put in Smith, and then we've got all the totals, and I want to just save that. I'll go ahead and do the whole balance of everything, the total, and then it's going to run my credit card here. So if I did insert a chip card into that unit that's in the front, and they just run the credit card for the full amount. Again, you wouldn't have to choose Visa. It would just do Visa, MasterCard, whatever. And I can have it print, like I say, in the large. Probably you'd have it print in a large print, not the little one at that point. And here's just, yeah. So it'll look any way we want. Literally, you could handwrite the documents any way you want. We do that for you, of course, with your personal trainer.
Okay, so now from here, now that we've sold this, how does that tie back in? Because I want, you know, it's critical that this also works with the accounting software. So how does that look? How does this tie back into from Retail Pro to QuickBooks?
Good question. And I do have a little video of that too, where Daryl is our accounting guy, and he just takes people through. Basically, this is so all the sales on this, which is, and pardon me, let me just make a little note here. This is 2076. Okay, and so I'm going to get out of here, save it, and no. So anything that sales at the end of the day, exit, yes, so at the end of the day, all the sales numbers, however often you want to post through to your accounting, there's different things that post through to the accounting, and I'm gonna click all the way out here so we can scoot out of this. And so right now you are using QuickBooks. You're not using the online version, right? You're using just the regular QuickBooks Pro accounting.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I would imagine it's the regular QuickBooks Pro. I don't know. That's a question for Shannon. I don't know the what.
Well, the good news is we link in with everything except their online version, and I already let her know that. She was fine with that, I believe. So she's
okay.
So,
no, that's fine.
So
I don't suppose we're using the online version based on that.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I think so. We basically there's the sales. When you do your receivings, there's a place to go post in. And as I said, I'm going to send you the video that Daryl did, but it's super simple. We have what's called an invoice reconciliation process. So for example, when you get a bill from La-Z-Boy and they want to get paid, there's a way to go into each receiving and see that they didn't short ship you. They shipped you exactly what they said they were going to, and there's a place to go put in the invoice number and the date that it's okay to pay them. And you might say the date is end of month or the date is next week that it's okay to pay them, but there's a field there. And as soon as you put that field in with, you know, the invoice number and the date that it's okay to pay them, then it's like tagged to go through our bridge tool into the correct columns in the QuickBooks. So so on that receiving voucher, which was where your guy in the warehouse is scanning, and just uploading, where he uploaded to Ashley Furniture, for example. So he uploaded this. There's a place here to go put in, and this is more of a back of the house person who's just double checking that we're not going to overpay Ashley, right? They see, yep, they billed us $59.97. That's correct. We're going to go ahead and pay them on the 9th. And then nobody has to think about it. On the 9th, it'll go through the bridge tool into the correct columns in QuickBooks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
No, I just want to make sure that this ties in and how that, I'm sure Shannon will have additional questions when it comes to bookkeeping and what goes on there. I just want to make sure that that ties back in.
Yep, and then we have wonderful reporting. The reporting is amazing. We have fabulous tax reports that'll break it all out for you automatically. Any type of the taxing, I've got the cash, I've got the charges, and so just
you can still run reports per branch, per salesperson. I mean, there's an infinite number of reports that you can run, correct? You can run reports of what's current in the inventory, what's current each store, what's current per manufacturer, so on and so forth, correct?
Absolutely. Everything you just described is absolutely possible and doable. They're just core reports in our system. It's this year versus last year. There's commissions and CIFs by employees, but with, based on margins.
I'm sure there's infinite amount. I'm just making sure that it's all there. I've worked with many, so just making sure.
No. We have crystal reports, so we have, end of day tender reconciliation kind of reporting that's going to show, broken out by store, by receipt, or by store, receipt number, cash, check these. Any report you can run by location, by workstation, by cashier, by salesperson, by associate. Sometimes people do associates that are the sales reps walking around on the floor selling, and then there's also separate segmented cashiers who are just taking money and ringing things up. Some people it's both. They do both roles certainly. And we do have wonderful commissions and CIFs and things that you can give to your employees so that you don't have to calculate that. It can just, any report can crunch and automatically go to a person or to, the ownership gets to see the end of day for all the stores, how do we do today, without having to dial in or do anything fancy. It comes to them. So they look on their phone every day.
You can do predetermined reports that automatically go to individuals.
Automatically go to their phone or their email, which they can see from their phone nowadays. So yes.
Okay. Perfect.
And then, so I think, when it comes to like transfer and distributing out from the warehouse to the stores, I'd love to get Jeff on a call with your group when you're ready. And I know, again, that this is just diving right into your busy season here with, and Shannon was saying like January, February might be a better time to really dig deep with you guys. But Jeff is amazing, and he has done, he has done, like I say, the most in the furniture world. He is our guy, and he's forgotten more than we will know as far as reality of how to get folks set up. Now, I was told that you are right now, when somebody shows up at a door to deliver product, that you right now are just kind of running the last of the card, but you're phoning it in and running it manually. So how are you, that you're not really doing it very sophisticated there? Any interest in doing something more automated at the door of the customer, or you want to stay away from all the iPads and all that stuff and all the fancy right now?
I want to stay away from all the iPads and all that stuff. I want to keep it super simple. I want to be able to run basic invoices in and out. I want my salespeople to be able, I want to take it in small bites. I want to, I don't want to jump in, head first and go crazy here. So I just want to be able to track. Some of our priorities are tracking inventory, are tracking our merchandise through transfers, where they're at, where it's at, locations, and then obviously the bookkeeping and you know, so on and so forth, and then be able, but that's just some of the highlights. Obviously, we want to be able to run numbers, you know, management and ownership want to be able to keep a track of the, you know, reports, because if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So, I mean, I just want to get the functionality and then understand what it's gonna look like for our people, because I want to stay away from the iPads and anything too complicated.
No, me
so
too.
if we go to a central location, there's a computer.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So we want to, you know, so my salespeople walk around on the floor, they have a customer, they decide on an item, they sell an item, they come to the counter, then they have to go to the computer, and then they have to type in all this information. It pulls all this, they enter the customer, the address, so on and so forth, and then it automatically populates the invoice, and then all those numbers come through, and it automatically, within, you said, 2 minutes, removes it from the inventory and from the system, right?
Yes, correct. It's a near real time within the cycle. So that would take it out. And if it's at store 2, I mean, we'd come up with the best possible process there so that they know they have to segment that, set that aside. That could be a few different ways of getting that done. But you could sell from, you know, from this location and kind of claim the product over there at that location and have them segment that headboard or whatever it is for them and know that that's committed. That's what on the sales order document, the sales order is a plan. And so you've taken all the money, but it is just a plan so far until you invoice against it. It's there. I mean, we've got these pieces here, but I haven't actually sold this yet. I've taken all the money. It's sales order 527, and then I invoiced, and now it's out. So when somebody's actually taking it, and that could be, it's up to you. There's actually multiple ways to do it. You could invoice it right then and there out of the system for them, and then make sure that they pulled it if it was the last one at store 3, for example. We just have to figure out what the best process would be for you, so that you don't.
And so how does that work? If you know, like I said, if we sign on to this, what does that look like as far as training? Do we have a representative that works with us? Is that additional cost? What does that look like?
No, so in your quote, I quoted, so Jeff, again, he's amazing. He would be your personal trainer. I've already chosen him to do this, but basically we sell a bank of hours, and you check off a syllabus with him, and it's a training checklist and he would show, you know, it's out from, you know, it's from the warehouse to store 1, and he would record these for you as well, so that you've got it, or to store 2, and then, you know, typing whatever the product is, that it's a braided, you know, pillow or whatever. He's going to show you how you take something out of inventory, and you can put any comments like for, you know, delivery instructions and transfer, you know, inventory to from this inventory to that inventory. So just showing you training on this, for example, on a transfer. I just want you to quickly see a transfer here, and then I'll show you. He's got kind of a syllabus that is like taking a little class, and he would show someone how to do transfer slips, and he would check that off with you and show you how this is what goes in the bag when you're transferring a braided pillow from this location to that location, from the warehouse to store 2, and received and delivered by. All of this he's designed.
Okay, so he's our guy, but what does that include? I mean, he goes through the syllabus, and once he's trained one person, so then are training all of our other people? Is that up to that one, you know, is that up to us? Is that, I mean, is there ongoing training? Is that charged per hour? What does that look like?
That's a great question. So here's his training syllabus. So basically he goes through, we typically sell 40 to 50 hours for a single store, 50 hours, five for each additional store. So the quote that we sent you might have, you know, 70 hours somewhere in there. And that's an estimate, and it's refundable, but it is a good estimate. We have been doing this 28 years. So we do know that for your size operation, it'll take approximately 70 hours to get you trained, installed, and up and running on the system. And what he does is he goes through, we get you one computer that kind of sits in the corner, and the group can all dial in from home during the COVID. They can, you know, you could certainly have everybody there, but multiple people can be dialed in and seeing, just like you're seeing my screen right now, we could all be dialed into your tower that we've told you that is your training tower. And Jeff's job is to check off the syllabus, that identify the system administrator, the person who's going to be in the store, the main store, as our point of contact, our point person every day. He trains the trainer. As many people can sit in as you want, and it is free. Once he's checked off the syllabus that you got it on purchasing, you got it on receiving, you got it on reporting, and he's set it all up for you, it is free forever. So training is free forever. So it's called free refresher forever. So basically, you could call him and say, Jeff, let's set up that distribution again, or let's go over the gun use again for our managers. I'm going to have them all in here. They want to go over it again and again and again. You'll never see another bill from us. So we want to make sure you are the experts on Retail Pro. It is what we do that is different. So we definitely check off the syllabus, and we have 2 to 3 appointments sometimes. Just purchasing and receiving is total of 4 to 6 hours, which is we do 2 hours at a time. So Jeff might meet with you twice or 3 times just on entering new items, or since they're not entering at the warehouse level, it's on the purchase order. They enter the items, they receive it with the scanner gun. He'll go over that again and again, and then he's going to talk about generating. There's something called an advanced shipping notice from a purchase order, changing PO numbers, entering instructions, just all of these things. You're checking it off on the side here, and then when you get to the
now
very
is this
bottom,
in-person training or is this remotely?
That's a good question. So there's 3 different options for that. There is one is where we can come to you. We're in Sacramento. You can come to us, or we do phone training, or any combination of the 3. Typically, especially during the COVID, we're finding ways to do these remote. And since, thank goodness, technology, we can affect change, right on the computer. We can record videos. We can be in, if you feel like you want to, we have a whole wall of one of our boardrooms that is a video conferencing. So if you feel like you just want to see Jeff, you just want to, have that face-to-face, we can make that happen even without him flying out and being in your office. We love in person, and we've done that for 28 years, but we're figuring it out that it's better sometimes to do.
Well, yeah, right. I understand that these are unusual times, but this isn't, hopefully, that this isn't going to last forever, I hope. And but eventually,
right.
Because it's one thing to sit here, because I've watched you run through all these things on my computer screen, but that's tomorrow morning, if somebody asked me to recreate anything you've done, it would be next to impossible. So, and I've realized that over the years that you just can't pick it up that fast. So sometimes, as long as the online training, as long as it's interactive, and that we walk individuals through this, and that I have to do it a few times myself. Maybe I'm old and slow, but I have to do it a few times to recognize.
We feel that way too. It's show one, do one. So he will check off a syllabus when it's preference switches, like what kind of tenders are you going to take and things like that. Those are almost always phone anyway, no matter what, because that's just checking off, the tender types, or what kind of percentage do we do on a deposit. We want it to be 50% on custom or 100% on custom. All that's just switches. But when you get down to the meat of it, which is, let's show me how to do the receiving with the gun. You want the gun in your hand, and then you want to actually upload it and see and play for real. And we do have sort of a way to kind of kick it to so you're not hurting anything, kind of a practice way to do this. We can set that up. So basically you're—
Is this training syllabus in your proposal?
I don't know that one is. I usually send that to people when we get, closer. I can send you those types of documents. Like I have, I'm very visual. You can tell I'm the fine arts major myself. So I have lots of color and things that no one else would care about. I have pictures of tags and pictures of receipts, and just because I like to see it, here's some of the tags and things. But I'll send you that training checklist, which is the syllabus. I also have a
because that's important, because obviously I want to know what it's going to look like to train my people, and like I said, I'm not too worried right now about colors, and I'm not worried about the I'm worried about over some. Right now I want basic bare bones, and we can add color and fluff later. Absolutely. But out of the out of the box, I want it to be simple. I want it to be transferable, that I can pass, that my people will understand it. And I want it to be simple and seamless. And I want reliable training, and somebody we can count on. And just I want to know exactly what we can expect. Want from the start right on through till we're until we get to knock the training wheels off. So
I hear you, and that is what Jeff does, and I really think it would be a good idea maybe to do an hour meeting with him so you can get a sense of it. And I'll send you. There's a timeline like this that I've done that I think we did do one for Shannon, because she said she wanted to go live in like February. So we thought Well, even if you bought in, November, for example, or December, and then we need a 3-month cycle of blinders on, getting spreadsheets entered for La-Z-Boy, for, getting your spreadsheets from your vendors and getting those entered. We need 3 months of learning the system, setting up a system. That's how long it takes before you open the doors and go live. You do have to take one physical count. So we loan you a handheld to walk around and scan the whole store per store to get a baseline perfect quantity count before you open the doors and go live on the system. You got to have that, because then the next one you sell, now we had 5, now we have 4, we're selling one, or we just received one, now we have 5 again. So all of that has to fall in place, and it's a process that's kind of hard for your first system. It's like chasing your tail a little bit, making sure everybody knows
This document that's on my screen right now, is that part of your proposal?
It is. I already gave one to Shannon, but it has more of a February go live because that was her request. So we did.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure that this is online. I just want to make sure that is something that we can look at, because that'll be part of the discussion.
It is, and it's for a February go live. If you wanted to change that timeline, I'm happy to change it for you as many times as you'd like. But we did one that's based on a go live for February. And then the training checklist, I'll make sure you have that too. That we're really like the visual, and the neat thing is once you get your assigned personal trainer, Jeff really goes at your pace. He designs the screens and gets rid of all the pictures and crap that you really don't care about. But that he'll make it super simple on the screens. When we have elderly folks sometimes that are the floor staff, which we do, we make a bigger font. I mean, we make it print bigger so that when they walk over to that La-Z-Boy recliner, they can just pull out a little sticker from the back and scan it, have a little 6 or 7 stickers in the sleeve so that they can scan it, or they can write down a huge number that says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that it's simple. They could maybe write it down, go back to the register, and just type it in. He'll make the processes really smooth for you, I think, and keep it simple.
Good. All right. Well, fantastic. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you said you're going to send me this recording?
I will send you the video recording, and I'll send you those documents. I'll make sure you have a copy of the document that is the timeline. I know Shannon has it, but I'll send it to you as well as that training checklist. And then if you want to set up another hour, another day, whenever you guys are ready, when do you want to hear from us? We don't want to bug you during your busy season, obviously, to take a peek at anything, but I'll make sure you have the quote, and I'll make sure you have the timeline, and I'll make sure you have the training checklist, those 3, and then the video, and then there's a video on the accounting also, so whoever does the accounting can watch Daryl do a posting into QuickBooks. It's a little bit more interesting from his perspective because he's an accounting guy for us.
Good. No, that will be good. So send that, definitely send that to myself and to Shannon. And like I said, we'll get together and we'll discuss this. I'll do a report. And if you're gonna send me this recording, then that makes it a lot easier for me. And then we'll look it over and we'll discuss it. And then I'll get back to you and I'll let you know what maybe we can set up a second timeline where we can meet with Jeff via the same type of thing, and he can kind of, go give me his spiel as well. That would be good.
You've got it. What's your email address? And I'll send